Good. Thank you, Cheryl. Well, hello, folks. Welcome to another podcast, Wisdom Cop podcast, and where we just take different wisdom from the past, the present, and long ago, somewhere in between, and we try to take it. At least I do. Try to put it in a position where, what do I get out of this? How will this cook an egg, so to speak? In other words, what it will do for me if I listen to it. We like to read these things over and over again. Oh, that sounds nice. That sounds nice. And this one tonight I'd like it a lot. And it sounds nice. But what do you gain from these? And that's what's important. That's what they're there for. This information has been left to us by some of the wisest men in history. So here's the one to know. Never give up the present for the past that has no future. So in essence, what happens is we all have memories. And memories are not necessarily good or bad. Sometimes they're both. But what happens if we keep going back and going about memories that we had and sitting there, a lot of them generally are negative because of patterns that we have in our life. Things, oh, then why does this crap always happen to me? And so on. So if we're going back there and think about, as I've done in the past, now I'm really recognizing it now after this quote, I go back to, geez, that son of a gun, he beat me up that one time. And then I turned it into a good thing. But how I got here because of that, every step of the way matched exactly how I got here. It's fascinating to think back. But the whole point is, what is that purpose? How is that going to help me in the future? Because the future is right now. The future is live. You can't do anything about it. And there's other quotes in the. I took a couple other quotes out of the wisdom book. I'll bring them up a little later. But the whole point is, we have no future from the past. The past is not the past is dead. It's just a memory. Now they're not all bad. I mean, I have memories of my oldest granddaughter when we raised her for 4 years, and I go back and say, man, there's times in there she made me smile, and the love just poured out of it. It was great. And I often go back if I want to have open my heart and do some like heart coherence or something. I'll bring that energy into it. And there's several times it's just she was loving my life back then because I didn't have a job at that time. I was kind of semi-retired, had an income, royalty income. I was pro patroller and they Monday to Friday ski patroller. That was a hoot. And they paid me for that actually. It was really cool. And I did some gigs at talks at White Oaks Hotel up there, which is a nice hotel up in what's called Muskoka, which is kind of like cottage country. It's kind of high end. Anyway, and I have memories back from there and the good memories. And sometimes they put a smile on my face. But the value, where's the value if I sit there and spend an hour going back there and just sitting, unless I'm getting into that love kind of vibration, because that's good for your heart. But if it's the negative stuff, God, why did I do that? That was such a stupid thing to do. How can I let that happen? And these kind of memories. So I made a fight with somebody that you had a long time ago. And here's a good one. We like to bring up our past about how good we were. Oh, listen, I did this and I did that. I caught myself doing that over my lifetime. 72. I go back and says, geez, I had a pretty good life. I did some really interesting things. That makes me feel good. Like you say, how does that cook an egg? It doesn't. And it's just temporary, but it's taking my present. I mean, how many more minutes do we have to live? And if I take any of those away, what would be the point? I would lose. So now, again, when you have patterns, we all have patterns, and generally we have negative ones like saboteurs and procrastination and all these other things. These patterns we learned at a young age, and they follow us throughout life. We go back to these patterns over and over and over again, and we think about these patterns and how we're doing them and what's going on, and it's still taking away the fun of the present. And fight with somebody. Uh, and some of the ones where, if you go back, oh, my first wife or my first husband or this, and they did this and they did that, and that can be really ugly. But it actually brings you back in stress because any of these memories that you have that are negative, as soon as you bring them to your mind, the energy of it is still there. Everything's happening like it did. The mind can't tell whether it's then or now. As far as if you're thinking it, it is, and it's just happening right now. So you go into that stress mode, you go in that anger mode, frustration mode, et cetera. So that's why you have to avoid some of these. Uh, Scorned by a love. Oh, there's a popular one. Like, I got a couple of those back from high school and so on. I still, it's still like I was, 16, 15. Uh, Sometimes when you're bullied, when somebody stole your girlfriend or your boyfriend, that happened to me too. Geez, come to think about that, this is not so good. These are all done uh, anymore. It's happened in the past. So how does it matter now? So I got a couple other quotes here. I want to put this quote up. The quote is this quote is powerful because it does not say the past had no value. It says it has no future. And that distinction matters. Something may have been beautiful, meaningful, formative, or necessary, and still no longer belong in our lives. Wisdom is not in denying the importance of what was. Wisdom in recognizing when its place is behind us, and when continuing to feed it only takes life away from what we are here and now. So if you take a look at this right here, see that little squiggly line, this Japanese kanji. And it was the first one, first wisdom podcast I did. And what it says is Ichigo Ichie, which means every time was the first time. Every time is the only time. No, the eternal moment. That's all there is. So I'm going to give you just a couple here. So I marked a couple in the book. And these wise men were quite wise. And it's here. Oh boy, did I mess that one up? 42. Well, I got other ones. Never wrestle with pigs. You both get dirty, but they like it. Interesting. Um, it's funny. I marked these two. Here's one by Gautama Buddha. Now, I don't know if you know the difference, and not that it matters, but interesting thing in history. There's anybody can be a Buddha when they become enlightened. It's not a god. It's not a thing. It's a philosophy. It's like when you graduate university, you would become a Buddha. That sort of analogy. Gautama Buddha was the only Buddha that he started. He was in India, and he never left India. But he taught a lot of people who became very wise and Buddhists. And the one that's most popular went to China and came up with all that. Anyway, the point I'm making here, as you walk, eat, and travel, be where you are. Otherwise, you will miss most of your life. So if you're sitting in a restaurant eating, thinking about something else, somewhere else, you're missing everything. You can't see, hear, touch, smell, or anything that's around you. You can't see the beauty in the trees and so on because your head's somewhere else. Got the idea? So you miss all that. Here's another one. And again, this is from Ram Dass. Right? Completely different area, completely different country and time. Don't think about the future. Just be here now. Don't think about the past. Just be here now. Simple quote, but very wise. In other words, nothing exists in the future. It's a mere possibility. Nothing exists in the past. It's over. It's done. It's dead. It's just a memory that you bring in or bring out. And the negative ones you don't want to hear anything about. But if as long as you're living back there, you can't take advantage of what's going on right now. You can't see. Sometimes you'll be sitting there in a conversation, your mind's going back somewhere else. And it can happen at the strangest time, I tell you. So I'm getting ready, for this podcast. So in the last few minutes, I want to go and comb my hair, because you got a little bit, sticking up the side here. And this is hilarious. So I grab the comb, I do this, and I go, and I'm seeing myself in the middle. I laugh like hell. That's how I used to comb my hair when I had lots of hair. And I'm going through this action, going, this is, anyway, those are kind of memories that can make you laugh. Uh, so I guess that's the point. And there's many other ones when talking about the moment, the eternal moment. That's all there is. That's all we got because the future's not even here yet. We're we don't know if getting up to tomorrow morning is only a possibility. It's not guaranteed. And there's a number of people throughout history who could tell you that if they were still alive. And again, now when you get up in the morning and you're having breakfast, you eat like this, you listen to the radio and news and everything that's going on. You're not even living in the moment. You're living out there in all these spaces and the social media and so on. If you can sit there, I tell you, this is really amazing. Now, I eat very fast, generally speaking. It's there's a memory about that. And it's not happy. When I was 2 years old, I was sitting, or I guess maybe a year and a half, I was still in the high chair. And I had two brothers and two sisters, and my mom and dad. So I'd be in the high chair. My mother would cut up the food, and my brothers, because, things weren't, they didn't have a lot back then. But my mom, every time I asked for seconds, she said, "No, you've had plenty." So I knew I had plenty. Anyway, as I was sitting there, my brothers would take their forks. My mother used to cut up the food. I remember this for me, and take it and eat it. And then one would go like this, jab it, and take it and eat it. Drove me. I'd be crying. I'd be so angry. So that's why I eat fast now. For somehow, I guess they figured you needed to know that. So anyway, if you think about that, and you're in the moment when you're thinking about this, you say, okay. So I got to identify when I'm in a bad memory going back, a memory that keeps coming up forward and over again, and then it goes back. Let it go, and you have to do when you hear that memory, stop it, and it's your thinking, so it's automatic, right? Subconscious thinks, and it comes up, honor it, let it go, and then get back. But more importantly, when you're here right now, be here now. And about eating, one of the neatest things you can do is I think there was a book as many years ago. It's called the something millionaire. Oh, I have to look that up again. So anyway, when you eat, you slowly take a slow bite and you chew. And what you are aware of, because you're in a moment, you're aware of the taste, the texture, the flavor, and even the aromas come out. And you can close your eyes just to really focus on that moment. And then when you turn around, you might, if you have a glass of wine, you don't need two glasses of wine. Give me this much because it's just a sip. And when you sip and then let it go over the tongue, and now you're in the moment. You understand what I'm saying? But sometimes we eat so hard we're not even aware of the conversations we're having. Sometimes we're just eating and our mind's somewhere else. We're not even aware of what we're doing in that moment. So try eating that and just savor everything. All of a sudden, life takes on a whole different experience just by eating, And how do your eggs taste in the morning? How does your tofu taste? How's your yogurt taste? Did you put berries in? Oh my goodness, that's so good. Do you get my point? I don't want to overkill the point, but that's pretty much where it is. And that's why that banner right there, can you see it right there? That's why that banner hangs on my wall. Because it reminds me, itchy go, itchy yay. And that was the first actually wisdom podcast I did. So if you want to go back and listen to that, it's there. Uh, it's free. So that's cool. Anyway, any questions? Any, don't have a debate, a discussion about it? Because discussion's really good. If not, you take this information with you, chew on it, think it through. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And when you get it, when you catch it, and you can listen to all the old masters write about the same thing. Wherever you go, be there now. Okay, everybody, I guess that's about it. I mentioned at the beginning it's going to be a short one. I had lots of notes I made up, but they all said the same thing. So, without taking any more time up, you can have some time to go think about that, and I hope it helps you out. And thank you for coming on and joining me. I really appreciate it. It's nice to talk about these things. Just one other point. We learn different ways. I learned by talking, I discovered. So what happens is over my life, I've had this idea Doesn't matter what it was. It was an idea. And I couldn't quite, it just didn't quite make sense. So one of the first people I would know, I'd talk to, say, listen, look, you're not going to believe this. And I'd start talking about it. And as I talk about it, I learn it. That's how I've always been. So this has helped, except I'm talking to myself. Thanks, Carol G. It's always great to have you on, anyone on. And Mr. Pickett, my good friend. And also Mr. Jim Purdue, also a good friend. So we'll talk to you soon. See you in a couple of weeks. Before you go, I'm going to mention this. April the 25th is World Tai Chi Qigong Day. And actually, my partner and I are working on it. And she's been working. She was up till 3 o'clock in the morning working on this. It's been long days putting this thing together. It's a 12-hour thing with all these little parts and pieces. And they got to be precise. And if one mistake and everything's, goes backwards and sideways. And it's, anyway, we're good. So be there on Saturday and watch us grow or watch us fall. But the information is going to be great from around the world, And some top people are there who are going to be speaking. And some other very nice people will be speaking. It's for a few words. We have a special section on cancer. And Dr. Joe Baumgart, he's going to be giving the science on it that they found through Tai Chi, Qigong about cancer and how it helps. And then there's other people that will be there, particularly Penny Klein, Dr. Penelope J. Klein, a professor emeritus who's passed a couple of years ago. Well, way back 20 years ago, she had cancer that could be treated. She tells her story, and it's amazing. And then because of that story, she went out and spent $40,000 of her own money buying equipment, like little HD high definition cameras and so on, and going around and going to studios and having it taped and making this documentary, which won 5 awards, Telly Awards, small time, but nonetheless. And did this beautiful 34-minute documentary. We're going to play it at noon during that period of time so we can get some lunch. We can let it play. But there's Dr. Peter Wayne from Harvard on there. There's, Dr. Linda Larkey, she's on there. Um, Roger Young, he's on there. Bill Douglas from World Tai Chi Qigong Day is on there. They all have little clips, and plus there's students that are interviewed and so on. So it's going to be a good time, I think. I don't expect you to sit there for 12 hours and watch it, but we will have it. Our plan is to get it each hour is one section, clean it up and put it on YouTube free. It's free for anybody, actually. And just to get some additional information about Qigong. And right now, it's coming out huge. It's going to affect the world in a very positive way. So I hope you can come on and enjoy it. All right. So now that's all I got to say. So thanks for listening. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. And if you like it, tell your friends. If you don't, remember silence is golden. And to finish off, I told you how much I love you today. And always remember peace, love, gratitude, joy, forgive, forget, and let go. And tell somebody you love them. You have no idea how big a difference it'll make in their life. Take care. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.